प्यारी 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 देसी बदल पे जा मेरा।
Hi, and welcome to the series dedicated to understanding our home. We are legitimate to ask, where is our home and what does home mean to us? Apart from these physical, temporary homes, the houses that we build and the retreat centers and the resorts and the palaces that we have in this physical reality, is this our ultimate home? Is this where we belong? If you have asked yourself this question, who am I and where am I coming from and what is a destination, then this series may be for you. It may be the right time and the right place to explore together what and where could be our ultimate home. When we look at what traditions are saying, we see that in Christianity they mention Genesis. They mention the creation of the human being in the image of God. God wanted to create a human being like himself and to give him the whole physical world to rule over it. However, in Christianity, it is not clear whether the soul was created by God or whether the soul is eternal. There are two different aspects that they are discussing, whether God created each soul individually or whether God created only the soul of Adam, and then the soul was transmitted with a body for each human being. In the Old Testament, they are mentioning the word soul hundreds of times with a connotation that the human possesses a soul. If the human possesses a soul, then where is this soul coming from? And where is it going after the body disappears? If the soul is not immortal, and if it dies with the body, then why do we have so many experiences that we know what has happened before this body begins? Why human beings have such a huge interest in lives and in reincarnation, rebirth, and also in understanding other realities. It suggests that we have a consciousness that is more unlimited than one life. It suggests that our awareness, our mind, can travel through time and space. And we are not limited to one birth only. Different faith and different traditions are looking at the existence of soul and whether the soul is immortal. The Baha'i faith is assuming that souls are immortal. And they also assume that the soul is like having a progress. When the soul is progressing, then it's coming closer to God. And when the soul is going farther remote from God, then they call that hell. And when the soul is coming closer to God, they call that heaven. That is a good working definition if we would like to understand that hell and heaven are related to our awareness of being closer to our perfection or being very far away from it. Other traditions are also trying to understand the separation between the spirit, the soul, and what we perceive as being the personality of the human being. For instance, in Islam, they are using the word ruha. Ruha means spirit, and they make a distinction between ruha, the spirit, and nefa, which are more the characteristics of the human personality. In philosophy as well, Aristotle was a great name who wrote extensively on the soul. And others who followed him, like Thomas Aquino, they also assumed that soul is immortal. But they also said that only the souls of human beings are immortal. Let us take for our exploration the assumption that souls are immortal. The assumption that human souls are not dying. If something like the soul is immortal, is undying, unceasing, unending, living, being, then how was it created? Is it possible to create something that is without end? Logic, reason says that something that is without end, that does not die, it also doesn't have a beginning. It is without beginning and without an end. It does not finish. If something was created, it means that it does not exist before creation. So if someone like God created the soul, it means the soul did not exist before that, so the soul cannot be eternal. And if God created the soul, where did it create it from? Christianity and other traditions assume that there is some creation process. Where is God now creating that souls? Is he still creating the souls now? As we speak, there are many other human beings that are born. Is this creationism process continuing now? And what is God using to create the souls? Will that ever end? Or are a limited number of souls created and then God will stop from that process and do something else? We can see how many questions exist related to this creationist process. The scriptures do not have an answer, and neither does science. Science does not even ask the right questions. Science completely ignores the existence of the soul. Where can we look to find an answer to this ultimate question? Who we are? Where do we come from? And where are we going? What are we doing here? Is this truly our home? Do I have the feeling that I belong to this temporary, ever-changing, unpredictable human existence? Is this truly my home? If you do not have that feeling that you belong here and this is all about you, then you are in the right place now to explore a new reality, to explore and to play with a new thought. The thought that the home of us, the souls, exists and it is different from the physical world. This is a very new thought. This is a very new proposal. No one is really describing or understanding where do the souls reside. We would like to explore in this new series the possibility and the form, the characteristics of this world of the souls. So let us start our exploration with understanding that everything that has a name and a form must also have a country. In our traditions, it is called Nam Rup Desh Kal. Nam is a name. Everything that have existence has a name. And the soul as well has a name, so it must exist as well. There must be a form as well associated with the soul. The form of the soul is described in many spiritual traditions as a point of light. Someone recently has described me how they have seen this soul. They believe they have seen a soul as a point of light. Most of the spiritual traditions would say that you cannot really see the soul with a physical eye, but you can understand it with a third eye, the eye of wisdom. So let us assume that the soul has a name, atma, ruha, soul, suflet. Each tradition has a name that has been given to the soul, and the soul also has a form, the form of light. In that case, there must be as well a time and a place, a country associated with that soul. If the souls exist forever, if they are not created and then they are eternal, that is their time. Their time means forever. All souls exist forever. It doesn't mean that only certain soul exists. In this model, it means that all souls, whether they are believers or non-believers, whether they are Christians or they are Muslims, whether they are Buddhists or whether they are Brahma Kumaris, all are eternal. All exist forever. They are not created and they are not destroyed. They are not punished and they are not rewarded with some eternal mythical life based on their good behavior. The model that we are taking is the souls exist forever, and they exist forever in a world with God. God as well is implied to be a soul. Now, if we consider the souls are eternal in the form of light, and they have an individual existence, individual life, then they must belong together to a world that is non-physical. This world that is non-physical, that is non-material, this world is like another reality. It does not bear any resemblance to this physical world. They are disjunct sets. They are like two completely different, disjunct worlds. Where can we find this world of souls? This world where God is. Is God now in this world of the souls? Can we assume that He is in this home of souls? Then we would be very interested to know where it is so we can go and meet God. Why not? That would be a wonderful objective for us. Can we meet God in our home? Can we know this home? Can we be with God and with other souls in our original form in our home? That would be a wonderful meeting. That would be a wonderful encountering. To be once again reunited, all souls together, that would be the dream of the humankind. Humans have been dreaming for such a long time of this reunion. Yoga actually means union. Union with what? With whom? Most of the time we are spending this yoga in union with what is in our physical world. We are united with our possessions. We keep on looking at what we have, what we are, what we want to be. We have yoga with our position. We keep on dreaming on a better position, on a higher status, on a better role. All of that are temporary, ever changing, and they are going to end. Our union is constantly with something that is very short-lived. And that is because we are suffering from a big problem. That problem is forgetfulness. The human beings are prevailing now in our awareness. And the soul has completely forgotten that it is a soul. We have forgotten our eternity. We have forgotten our home. We have forgotten our family. That is why right now in the world there is such an upheaval, so much conflict. One soul is fighting against another soul. We have forgotten we are all from one family. Where can we find the answer? Let us use, just for a few moments, the board and try to explain in a few words and a few images where our home is. We understand this physical reality as a place that has a name, a form, a time, and a location. We describe the physical world as being solid, a world of matter, a world of time. A world that can be perceived through the five senses. Let us describe this world as a material world. This world is also eternal. It is not created and it does not end. It continues. And this world is a host for the souls. If we are guests here in this world, it means we are coming from a home that belongs to us. Souls are travelers in this physical world. We can say about the souls that they are guests in the physical world. A guest does not own anything. A guest cannot demand anything in the place that they are visiting. The guest has his own home. We understand the home of the souls as being a place where our awareness is elevated. It is a place where we feel that we all belong and we all belong to a family. Home is a place where God is. God is a soul that has highest awareness constantly. This highest awareness has nothing to do with his size. Is not bigger or smaller than the other souls. However, his awareness is constantly of being an eternal being of light. God knows always that he is God. He is always aware of the home and of the existence of all souls. So home is also eternal. And so are the souls. Home, as we understand it, is a reality where we perceive ourselves in the highest possible consciousness. Home is a place where we are at complete and total peace. What we experience in a home is rest, comfort, being able to be our true selves. Home is a place where the real I is completely awake and aware. Now, being able to describe our home is the first step in getting into the experience of being at home. For such a long time, human beings were trying, without any success, to understand the origins of the souls, to understand where do we come from and where are we going. If we have not been able to succeed for such a long time, almost 2000 years, how are we going to find out now the answer to this question? Where do I come from? And where are we going? Where do we belong? How can we access this home that feels so far away? There is only one possible answer to these questions. If none of the human beings know about this home, then maybe God is the one who can tell us where this home is and how we can get back home. Now, the good news for those who want to do everything on their own is that no one can take you back home. You, on your own, you have to remember your home and remember the way back home. The role of God is unique through the fact that God can give us a method to remember our home. But no one, not even God, can do that way back home for us. So this is good news for everyone. Whether you want to accept the help of God, you have it. Whether you don't want to accept the help of God, you feel you don't want God and you don't need God, that is fine. Just accept the method. God and those who are studying with him, now they feel they have the method to understand the home. So just take on the method and you're going to do the rest. You can do everything on your own. You can understand and remember your home as long as you have the right method. Now, this right method requires one point of clear understanding. And I feel that you already got the end of the stick. The end of the stick is we are souls. As soon as we have accepted the thought and we start playing with it, I'm a soul, I'm not this body. You have already made the first step towards home, towards understanding and experiencing and remembering the home. It is as if human beings are suffering from amnesia They have forgotten their home, they have forgotten their parents, they have forgotten their family. They are orphans in this physical world, and of course their life is a life of sorrow and pain and complaint. The first step to return to that awareness of peace and comfort and rest, to return to the home where we belong, to return to the feeling that we are all part of a family, and that family is under the protection of the Almighty God. The first step is, I am a soul. It is a soul that is right now awake and aware, using the sense organs, using the eyes to watch this video, using the ears to hear, using the mouth to speak. I, the soul, am eternal. So let us finish our first session with 1 minute of remembering our home. We remember our home through silence. Let me tap into this silence of the mind. And experience that home is my right. Thank you for joining. Let us continue our exploration tomorrow, same time. Let us investigate, understand, and remember a little bit more about our original home. Thank you